I didn't put this out because I don't want to tell my strategy and have it kind of get out of this room too much. We had a conversation. John Masterson was part of it. There's a guy who's a Wall Streety kind of, I like to talk to very rich people kind of guy. He's involved in this, and we had like 10 or 15 of us on this conference call last Thursday night at 7 p.m. And what we did was we discussed what was happening, because these people who I look up to, who are very powerful, that have thousands of patients in other states too, and dispensaries and whatnot, they're really pissed off. And these guys are very good at business. They know what they're doing, they make a lot of money. And they know how to deal with hard times because they've gone through it, right? Kind of like we're going through it now. And I watch what they do, and they kind of keep me in their circles a little bit because of what I did. And so it seems like there's a 4-step approach to this. Obviously, talk to the governor. Obviously, talk to the people who are in the legislature who want SB423 to be put into place so that we can back up the governor. It makes complete sense to me why Governor Schweitzer is not doing anything about this, because this is a terribly crafted bill. And to me personally, when I read it, I see 8 or 9 glaring conflicts with existing law that's been in place for a long time. And most of the legislature is new. They don't have the experience and training of an old legislature that's been around for a while. So I see a couple of advantages here. First of all, he's probably not going to veto it because the legislature can veto his veto, and then it goes in anyway, and then we're back to square one. But we got to do this is a 4-step approach. Talk to the governor, do the thing like we did up in Whitefish today, where we went out and protested. Number 2, let it pass, because it will. And when it becomes law, the day that happens, file the lawsuit. The next day, file 10. The next day, file 20. They probably will be combined, but I think it's going to send a very strong message everywhere that we, the people, want this in place. It's interesting that you brought up the Constitution, because in Articles 2, Section 1, if anybody wants to pull it up on their iPhone or some other electronic device, it says that all of the power that is derived by our government is derived from the people's will, and that alone, only, is where the power is derived from. So we, the people, can do things. It's very confusing, though. I was listening to Mr. Gallo's talk about it was like a whole different language, and I don't speak that language. He does, and other people do. And if I go to a different country, I'm going to pay a translator probably a lot of money to make sure that I can live in that other country, and I feel like we're there now. So that's why I'm willing to put $1,000 into this. So the second thing would be to go to court and file an injunctive, get an order from a judge for injunctive relief, which would, in essence, stop it dead in its tracks. That's what that does. And the initiative and the lawsuits can all come from all kinds of different angles and strategy, like I'm asking you, Judge, to make this hold off for 15 days or 5 months or September 1st or whatever you want. So there's a whole lot of different variables that go into these pleadings and go in front of the courts. And what must happen, absolute has to happen, is this process. We have to get a smart attorney, better than me because I'm not an attorney and I don't have the training this guy from Bozeman has. But I do believe that it needs to be more than just one attorney. I think it needs to be many. We need a dream team. Which brings me to the 4th strategy, which is the initiative, the new initiative, the new law that we the people can put into place. Any one of you can get on the internet for free and read how to do this and write your own law and get a whole bunch of people, just like me. I'll tell you how to do it. It's super easy. It's free too. How to write your own law and get a whole bunch of people to sign it into existence. I mean, it's been done. Initiative 148 was one person with a dream. Tom Dober had a lot to do with it. He wasn't the only one. He was charismatic and got other people to help him do it too. So any one of us can make this happen. If we work together, we can do 4 or 5 different things. I think that it'd be very interesting to see what happens in the next few months. One thing that I don't like about the SB423 bill, which one of our doctors asked me to bring this up tonight, is the fact that after 25 patients, it's a mandatory de facto fine, because in Montana, when you're a doctor and you get investigated by the Medical Board of Examiners, you pay their attorney fees and your attorney fees, because of course you don't want to go in front of the board without an attorney present. Guess what the retainer is? It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 to $25,000. And if I'm an attorney, I guarantee you that I can burn through $25,000 in 2 weeks at 50 hours a week. That's at $250 an hour. If you do the math, that's what it comes to. And it takes a lot longer than 2 weeks to prepare for this. So doc's out 50 grand, $100,000. How many doctors? I mean, what's the price going to be? It's going to be like $10,000 per patient for your medical card if you have chronic pain. There's a couple of legislators who are key legislators that are easy and soft, that will easily come to our side if pressured enough. How do you pressure a legislator? Call them, email them, go visit them, meet them in a dark alley. I mean, be nice, they're people too, but you know, they did take an oath of office to uphold the Constitution. So their names are Dyke, I don't know how to spell that, Gent, Lewis, Blewett, Erickson, and Kendall. There's 5. Okay, so, you know, how many people are going to lose a job in this room if this goes away? If this goes the way it's happening? Okay, so you have a financial incentive, you have a fiscal incentive to keep this from happening. In America, we're all about money, aren't we? Isn't that kind of how the, like, isn't money how, it's a rhetorical question, but isn't money how things work, and isn't the court system in place to support that, specifically, to support money? So isn't it in the interest of we the people, the public interest, to have jobs, right? So that's another element of a lawsuit in court that a judge might weigh on, and that's something that you can tell a legislator, look at how many people are going to lose their job. At this point, you know now, you're kind of getting a feel for like what we're up against, right? Like, you guys have a clear sense? I feel like you do. Like, I feel like I'm seeing it kind of happen in your eyeballs, where you're kind of understanding what happens. And I'm glad that I'm here learning a lot too, because now I understand better what happens. And so, I mean, I'm going to finish my prepared speech with this. Stay ready.
This needs to be accurate information. You stated that we are a team, all of us. And if this team thinks that he needs to hold off filing his lawsuit until MCIA files theirs, then I would ask you to respect the team. Now, we haven't taken a poll.
It's not about respect for me. It really isn't.
I have respect for you.
I'm not seeing it from a respect point of view. I'm seeing it from a strategic point of view. I am very motivated to do something.
I understand that, and I'm not asking you not to do something. I'm asking you to hold off doing that until we can establish an initial point. Everybody can pile on after that.
I would hereby swear solemnly to wait until the gentleman from Bozeman files his lawsuit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say one more thing. I do have respect for Jason. If he had not done what he did, there wouldn't be 30,000 patients in this state to fight this.
That's right.
We do have the most patients per capita than anywhere else on the planet. 3.3% of this population, which is 9 times more than California, and twice Colorado, and 3 times Oregon and Michigan.
I understand, I'm new to petition thing here, that we need 15% like spread out through the whole state.
No. The way that it works,
District.
there are 50 districts. They're all carved up by population, right?
And so are we going to have someone like letting us know where to hit if there's like an area that's weak and we need petitioners out in that area kind of thing?
What we're going to do is we're going to focus our efforts on the districts that we think are going to have the highest number of voter turnout for us.
Okay.
Right? That's basically it.
Okay.
Montana Connect has a listing of all the districts on their website. It also has the number of voters, registered voters, and the percentage or the number of voters that we would need in a petition drive.
And also, if you do any research on Initiative 148, you will find the percentage of voters from each district that voted positive for that. And that's kind of a good start.
What in section 40 in the new 423, it states that section 20, 30, 31, 33, 35, 38 go in July or Friday the 13th. The biggest one is the advertisement, all advertisement comes down. But is there going to be anyone throwing out a list of saying, hey, these are the little things that you need to pay attention to?
John, did you cover that?
I didn't cover that specifically, but I understand that DPHHS is right now is trying to figure out what their process is going to be, because for the month of June, it's a big question mark because they've got to be developing a new process for patients and all that. And so it's unclear as to at what date they're going to stop taking new patient applications, but it's probably going to be sometime in June.
So basically what he's saying is that they're not very sure, but they're going to try to enact something pretty quick. So they're going through the process of understanding. Yeah, you have a question? It's been said that as many different kinds of people around the world as how many opinions you've got. And I've gone all over the state over and over and over again, and I find different kind of people everywhere. And I think that it adds to the beautiful diversity of the state. I wouldn't want just one kind of tree on a mountainside. I would want hundreds of different kinds of trees on a mountainside. It's beautiful, and it makes for a more complete picture. And that's how democracy works. So there's a training manual that's being developed that should be done in about a week that will outline exactly, step by step, what you have to do to be legit. And then you'll get that and you're like, oh, okay, this makes complete sense. And it'll really solidify what we're talking about here. Because right now at this point, the purpose of this meeting is not to answer every single thing, but it's to get it started, get the ball rolling.
I have a question for Chris too.
Okay.
If we do overturn this through the petition process, does that stops the new law from in its tracks? Do we go back to the old law that we have right now? Is that what happens until
Yes.
we can vote on it again? So
Boom this industry.
Yep, so I'm going to take 2 more questions.
So to reiterate what you just said, if the injunction gets accepted, we can keep growing until they tell us we can't?
And nothing changes.
Yep.
Six plans.
It changes. Okay.
Probably none of that is going to happen until, I mean, you're going to work, it's going to take every bit of.
It ain't gonna happen July
Really
1st.
up until September 30th, or September 28th is probably the day that it falls on, that you have to have those in. Yeah, you'll be in flux in that period. Now, if you fall short on if you fall short on the 15%, but you got 25%, you're still going on to the ballot. But the law will be in full force in effect until it was accepted and rejected. And the other thing I was just going to add quickly too, since it sounds like things would get up and moving as quickly as possible, that if if you are paying for folks to collect signatures, and if you're gathering money, all of that needs, those are all reportable events, and that'll have to be tracked. I mean, at different times, but there's a process that you need to be aware of. It's with the Commission of Political Practices, and there's reporting involved for the costs associated with doing all those things, including paying people, including if you're salaried, including if you, you should be paid by the hour, but if you have hourly employees and part of their workday you send out to, rather than, working on different things, you won't really be much in that position, but if you found a way to survive and keep going, and you're paying those folks to do ballot issue work or signature collection, you need to track that. If you're using business resources, you become a political committee. There's reporting stuff, and just be aware of it. And it's not just downloading these petitions and going out and paying people to do them, because it's all comes through that process. So I just say that so that people don't get in trouble.
Are we still looking at more than a month before the petition will even be ready for signatures?
Yes. Well, they don't have to take the, legislative services does not need to take the 14 days.
But I mean-
And the AG does not need to take the 30 days, but conceivably that's the time period.